Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buffalo Sports Center, and today we are going to talk about a pressing need for the Buffalo Bills, and that is the running back position. They need another elite running back, another elite option for Josh Allen if they are to get over the Chiefs' hump in the playoffs and potentially win a Super Bowl. And one way to do it is to trade for an elite running back. In today's video, I'm going to break down 3 potential running backs that the Bills could trade for very, very soon. But before I get to that, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's move on to the video. The Bills' first potential running back option is Christian McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. CMC has played 10 games over the last 2 seasons, and mentioning those 10 games, he has been very injured, obviously. In 2021, he played 7 games, had 99 carries and 442 rushing yards with 4.5 yards per rush, and he managed to score just 1 touchdown. Those are slightly better than his 2020 stats, where he played just 3 games, had 59 carries, 225 rushing yards, 3.8 yards per rush, but scored 5 touchdowns. CMC has suffered from shoulder, calf, ankle, and hamstring injuries. All of these should be major red flags for any potential teams interested in his services. However, the Bills definitely need a pass-catching, great receiving, and speedy option like Christian McCaffrey. He would be giving the Bills another Swiss Army knife on the offensive side of the ball. The Panthers are asking for major return for CMC in any potential trade, and that could see maybe multiple first-round picks and an offensive starter. Fortunately for the Bills, they do have an offensive starter looking to be moved, and that's Cole Beasley, but that's a story for another time. Another option for the Bills is the 25-year-old Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants. Saquon's offensive stats have been dipping since his great rookie season where he had 5 yards per rush. In 2021, he played 13 games, had 162 carries, 593 rushing yards, and averaged just 3.7 yards per rush, and he only scored 2 touchdowns all season long. 2020 wasn't any better for him as he played 2 games, had just 19 carries, and only 34 rushing yards. Many could say that he has not been the same since his bad ACL tear back in 2020, but getting in front of a great offensive line in Buffalo would surely help Saquon's stats rebound. He is due $7.2 million in cap hit, which is just below Christian McCaffrey's cap hit for the 2022 season, so acquiring him would not be cheap. His trade price would likely be just a first-round pick, but he hasn't been good for 3 years, so GMs are not asking as much for Barkley as they would for a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Finally, a third option for the Bills is the 23-year-old James Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. In 2021, he played 14 games, had 240 carries, and rushed for 1,070 yards, which is 4.5 yards per rush, of course, and he scored 7 touchdowns. The Jags may not be willing to trade James Robinson, but he wasn't used much by Urban Meyer last season, and he may be looking for a change of scenery. He's a speedy young running back that excels in short yardage run plays, and he has a knack for red zone touchdowns, as you can see by his 7 touchdowns scored last season. In 2020, he had 8 more touchdowns scored, which is fantastic if you ask me. He would be a much better player than, say, Zach Moss. While he's not an elite running back 1 option that can instantly usurp Devin Singletary for that starting role, he could be a very good complementary piece while also being cheap at the same time. The only problem with him is, much like the other 2, injuries. He is returning and rehabbing from an ACL tear that he suffered late in the 2021 season, so it's still unclear if he will be ready for the beginning of the 2022 season, and this could factor into a potential trade with the Bills. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Tell me in the comment section, who do you think the Bills could go after at the running back position? Do they make a big-time trade for a guy like Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley? Or do they go more low-key with a guy like James Robinson? You tell me. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and see y'all in the next video.